Good morning, everyone. You're watching Get Cruise Ship Info and more. In today's latest cruise news update for 18 June, we're going to be discussing 5 key topics. So sit back and enjoy the scenery while you get your daily dose of cruise news. But before we jump right into it, may I request you to please go ahead and click that subscribe button and also activate notifications so that you stay updated whenever I drop my next latest cruise news update. Now, without further ado, let's get into it. The United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, has lowered its cruise travel warning from level 4 to level 3 and specified the warning is now for travelers who are not fully vaccinated. The CDC said it recommends that people who are not fully vaccinated avoid travel on cruise ships, including river cruises, across the world. Since the virus spreads more easily between people in close quarters aboard ships, the chance of getting COVID-19 on cruise ships is very high. The CDC said this on its website. It is especially important that people who are not fully vaccinated with an increased risk of severe illness to avoid travel on cruise ships, including river cruises. Carnival Corporation has scheduled a conference call with analysts for Thursday, June 24th to provide a business update. A simulcast of the call will be available via the company's websites at www.carnivalcorp.com and www.carnivalplc.com. Disney Cruise Line has announced that it will be operating several holiday sailings in the fall of 2022 with Halloween on the high seas and very maritime cruises across the fleet, including the first fall season of the new Disney Wish. These sailings will depart from Florida, New York, Texas, and California. With 5 ships setting sail in the fall of 2022 from different home ports around the country, we are excited to offer more ways than ever for families to make special memories with Disney Cruise Line. These were the words of Thomas Maslam, president for Disney Cruise Line. In the fall of 2022, the Disney Wish and the Disney Fantasy will embark on itineraries out of Port Canaveral, Florida, while the Disney Dream will continue to sail from Miami. The Disney Wish will be offering a series of 3 and 4 night voyages to the Bahamas, while the Disney Fantasy will offer 6, 7, 8 night vacations to Eastern and Western Caribbean. The Disney Dream will also take guests on 4 and 5 night Bahamian itineraries and 5 night Caribbean cruises to either Grand Cayman or Cozumel, Mexico. All sailings from Port Canaveral or Miami will include a stop at Castaway Cay, Disney's private island paradise, outfitted for family fun and relaxation and brimming with special Disney touches. The Disney Magic will sail out of San Juan, Puerto Rico for 2 special itineraries in early November. A 7-night Southern Caribbean sailing will visit Antigua, St. Lucia, Aruba, and Bonaire, while a following 6-night voyage will feature stops in St. Thomas and Falmouth in Jamaica. The Disney Magic returns to New York in late September for a series of Halloween on the high seas sailings to Bermuda and Canada. Guests can visit Bermuda's pink sand beaches and colorful coral reefs on 5-night vacations or set their sights on a special 6-night cruise to the Canadian ports of New Brunswick and Halifax that includes a stop in Bar Harbor, Maine. The Disney Magic will visit Galveston, Texas in late November for a variety of 5 and 7-night very maritime cruises with Western Caribbean itineraries. Ports of call include Cozumel and Progreso, Mexico, Falmouth, Jamaica, and Grand Cayman. Royal Caribbean International has confirmed its health and safety protocols for the Freedom of the Seas and its July sailings from Miami. The company said that it strongly recommends that all guests 16 and older be fully vaccinated and that at check-in, guests will be asked to provide documentation of their vaccination, such as the United States Centers of Disease Control and Prevention's COVID-19 vaccination record card. Those who are 16 and older and do not have or are unable to provide documentation will be considered unvaccinated. Unvaccinated guests must undergo additional COVID-19 testing as per the following. Now, as a requirement to sail with Royal Caribbean, all unvaccinated guests must undergo multiple COVID-19 tests. Testing at the terminal prior to embarkation and on board prior to disembarkation will be conducted by licensed and accredited third-party testing providers that the company have contracted. Unvaccinated guests must register for the testing and agree to third-party testing provider terms and conditions. Registration details will be sent via email in advance. The total charge for the third-party testing vendor for these tests is $136. This amount will be applied to the guest's onboard expense account. Royal Caribbean will pay the testing vendors on the guest's behalf and will not retain any part of the testing costs. For children not yet eligible to be vaccinated, the company will cover the cost of any required testing. So, the testing requirements for unvaccinated guests is broken down into 3 phases or 3 parts. Pre-cruise. Pre-cruise includes unvaccinated guests 16 years of age and older who will need to undergo an RT-PCR test administered by an accredited laboratory of the guest's choice and taken within 3 days of sailing. Royal Caribbean said that it will require documentation of a negative test result for this test prior to embarkation. All costs for this test are the unvaccinated guest's responsibility. The next part is at the terminal. Unvaccinated guests 2 years of age and older are required to take an RT-PCR test while checking in at the terminal, which will be administered by testing vendors. Registration details will be sent via email in advance. Third one is prior to disembarking. While on board, unvaccinated guests 2 years of age and older will be required to undergo antigen testing within 24 hours of disembarking at the end of the voyage. This test will be conducted the day before the cruise ends by one of the company's testing vendors. Guests will be notified on board about how to register for this test. Princess Cruises has announced its intent to return to service in the United States, sailing from Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Fort Lauderdale this fall. The cruise line said that the decision came after collaborating with government officials and receiving evolving guidance from the United States Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. Now, starting between the 25th of September and the 28th of November 2021, cruises on board 8 Princess Medallion class ships will once again take guests to the Caribbean, Panama Canal, Mexico, Hawaii, and California coast. This is what Jan Swartz, Princess Cruises president, had to share. As we continue to return to service, it is a thrill for us to be able to bring more cruise vacation options to our travel-starved guests. We appreciate the support of government and port officials who we work closely with to make these travel opportunities available in a thoughtful and a safe way for our guests. Dining, entertainment, and shore excursion details are currently being finalized and will be communicated in the weeks to come. Princess Cruises sailing through 2021 are available for guests who have received their final dose of an approved COVID-19 vaccine at least 14 days prior to the beginning of the cruise and have proof of vaccination. Crew vaccinations will be in accordance with the CDC guidelines. Princess said that it will continue to monitor the latest guidance from the CDC as well as local, state and federal officials in the ports we sail from and those we visit, and will adjust our onboard protocols and vaccination requirements as necessary. In May, Princess had announced plans to resume cruising in Alaska, departing 25th of July through the 26th of September 2021. Round-trip Seattle on 7-day cruises on board the Majestic Princess. Norwegian Cruise Line will reportedly be redirecting its $2 million donation to the Juneau Community Foundation after the City and Borough of Juneau Assembly turned it down in fear of losing public trust. According to City Manager Rory Watt, the cruise line was understanding in such a decision. This is what she had to share. I did talk to Norwegian Cruise Lines and I advised them of the assembly discussion and debate, and their reaction was that's just fine. If the Assembly's decision was that the Community Foundation was better situated, then they were happy to contribute the money to the foundation. Earlier, non-profit Juneau-based corporation KTOO reported that the City and Borough of Juneau Assembly had turned down a $2 million donation from Norwegian. 6 Assembly members voted against taking donation, while only 3 voted for during a meeting which was held on the 14th of June. Some Assembly members were concerned about what the public would think of the city taking the money. Now, this comes about a month after Norwegian announced that it would donate a total of $10 million to Alaska port communities. That included Ketchikan, Juneau, Hoonah, Sitka, Skagway, and Seward. The funds were intended to support small businesses and those most impacted by the lack of cruise guests or passengers last year. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, we conclude our cruise news update for 18 June. Thank you for listening, thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed watching this video, a subscribe for my channel will really be appreciated. And yes, please don't forget to give me that thumbs up as well. Until next time, you take care and stay safe.